Every spring, the warm currents of the Pacific Ocean sweep past the coast of Taiwan's Lanyu Island. Dubbed the Black Current, it brings with it rich plankton and a harvest from the sea, which the inhabitants of the island, the Tao, consider a gift from the gods. Exploring sites of history, culture, and natural beauty, I am on a quest for treasures. Treasures which tell the story of the people whose heritage are under threat. I am Linda Black, your heritage hunter. Tucked between the Taiwan mainland to the northwest and the Philippines to the south is Lanyu Tao, otherwise known as Orchid Island. It's home to Taiwan's only seafaring tribe. Outsiders call them Yami, which is the dialect they speak. They call themselves Tao, which simply means man. The Tao are believed to have arrived here about 1,000 years ago from the Bataan Islands in North Philippines. Many say the Bataan and the Tao are one, separated by the sea. Today, in relatively calm waters, my approach from the Taiwan mainland took just under 2 hours. While I'm exploring the island, there are 3 treasures that I have to find, and the clues are eyes of the sun, a ceremonial ornament, and pure life. So let's get going. Lanyu has 8 mountains within an area of just 48 square kilometers. It's an ancient volcanic island. The 60-kilometer coastline has been sculptured by the relentless battering of wind and sea. In spite of the harsh environment, the Tao have carved a livelihood side by side with nature over the past several hundred years, showing respect for the land they live off. If there is one activity which defines the Tao way of life, it's fishing. In fact, their calendar, which observes 3 seasons, is centered around the flying fish season, which falls between February and July. It's the tail end of the flying fish season, but there are good-sized pickings to be had for the lone fisherman wise in the ways of the sea. Fish is the Tao's main source of protein. The Tao fishermen would often catch enough to tide them over the winter months before the next flying fish season in spring. Most of the fish are dried to be consumed later in the year. And if they catch more than they need, they are happy to share them, even with strangers. To them, catching flying fish is a privilege to be shared. Ah, this is beautiful. Well, I'm going to have flying fish for lunch. I just need to find someone who will cook it for me. I have found Big Sister Xiao Feng, who's going to help me prepare the flying fish. Now you can see she's tying it in the traditional way, or else the fish will fall apart once it's put into the boiling water. Seems like that fish took only a few minutes to cook. Sweet potato. What she's doing is preparing it in the traditional way. So it's going to be served on this fresh leaf. So you've got your fish right here. This is the staple of the Tao people. This is taro. And then this right next to it is a sweet potato. This is very tasty fish. It's got a very pleasant flavor to it. Just got to watch out for the spines though, because there's quite a few. And it is quite salty already. It doesn't need a thing. It's perfect the way it is. The Tao view fish with such reverence, they craft special plates to serve them for formal occasions. Flying fish can only be served on square plates. Round plates are for women, oval plates are for men. And there are certain taboos when it comes to their fishing boats. Now, I can actually touch this one because it's a souvenir, but the actual boat itself is off limits to women. So now, I think I'm off in search of the real thing. I learned more about these taboos from my guide, Siaman Lamaran. I'm breaking a bit of social tradition here by being on this side of the road with the boats.
Yes, the women cannot touch the boat, especially during the flying fish season.
Okay.
That means we are protecting the women because the women, if they touch the boat, the men, when they go to fishing, they won't catch any fish.
Oh, I see.
So every year before the flying fish season starts, we fix it. We paint them. Yeah. We only have 3 colors, which is black, red, and white. It's always from nature. Yes. This is the decoration for the boat, especially for this village. This is very normal for them to put the decoration on the boat. This is the person of the boat.
Okay.
And this is the spirit of the boat. This is the wave, the triangle. Yeah, this is the eye of the boat.
Okay.
We call it Mata no Tatala.
Aha, eye of the boat? Wow.
It can direct you to the safe area. It can direct you to the many fish.
So here is my first treasure. This emblem at the front of the boat is the eyes of the sun, which protects the fishermen and asks for a bountiful harvest. So I can tick that off my list. My search for the rest of Lanyu's treasures leads me to a craftswoman who has heirlooms from nature.
这个是意义哈，它就是这个东西。意义在我们祖先里面是非常重要的佩戴的工具哈。这个就是意义的那个花，还有它的叶子啊，还有它的那个果实。那现在你手上拿的这个颈链呢，它这边就是已经熟的一个果实。那当它还没有熟的时候呢，就是这个样子。
Traditional necklaces are also made from seeds harvested from other wild plants. These days, they have been replaced by plastic beads, but still with an eye to detail. Here, she's just finishing off a neck amulet patterned on the eyes of the boat, a good luck charm, especially for children.
这个我们做完的一个作品哈，这个就是传言。那我这个送你哈，就是祝福你能够就是身体健康哈，这个照亮你的人生就是能够光明正大。
Thank you,
谢谢，不客气。
Really beautiful. A good luck charm for a bright future. Could this pave the way to one of my treasures, pure life? The eye of the sun draws me back again to the Tao's traditional boats. In the forest of Lanyu's mountains, Tao families stake their claim on trees for building boats. This is no man's land. There's not even a trail here. He's having to cut the trail so we can go through here. Where am I going? To find the tree that Siaman Fakutan wants to own.
如果说我看到这个树，哦，很漂亮的话，我会拿刀子，有没有？做我的记号，做我的记号，哦。做记号的话，哈，这个是我的，人家看到，人家不会拿，啊。
The tree that Fakutan marked is used to make the nails. The Dao use different trees for different parts of the boat.
这个是面包树，这面包树，当地母语叫 moringi。平常我们这个面包树都用来做那个平板舟的那个板根，板根就是上面那个上面。那他要的时候，他会先检查它的根部。这个 太斜，他不要。那这个呢，太短，他也不要，因为它是弯掉。那他会看这个它的斜度比较漂亮，它斜度刚刚好，所以他会选择这个东西。
The skills for boat building are closely guarded family secrets. Most families generally build smaller boats for 2 or 3, and larger boats for 10 are built by the community. On the odd occasion that they do, they call upon friends and relatives from different villages. When these large boats are completed, the launching of the boat is marked by an elaborate ceremony to ask for safe passage and a bountiful harvest from the gods. The highlight is the tossing of the boat into the air as high as possible, an action that emulates the flying fish in water. But ceremonies of this scale are becoming increasingly rare. Younger fishermen prefer using motorboats because they are more stable, especially at night. Fishing on traditional boats requires skills of navigation that need to be honed by years of experience. Nighttime is also when the forest unveils the treasures of the dark. As a child, my guide Chen Minghui used to steal into the dark to catch some of Lanyu's creepy crawlies.
琳达，我给你介绍一下，这个是我们兰屿的特别种，叫做大圆斑硬象鼻虫。哇，它很硬哦，硬到呢没有人敢吃它哦。像很多鸟看到很漂亮，可是呢不敢吃它。为什么不敢吃它？因为吃它以后呢，大便大不出来，会憋死，最后呢就死掉了。对，那在兰屿呢，我们喜欢用它呢来跟人家比力气，看谁的力气比较大。 如果说你能够捏得碎的话，你力气大，我佩服你；如果捏不动的话呢，你是在我之下，因为呢，我比你厉害，我捏得动。对，啊，不过这种东西呢，已经是保育类的，在我们台湾呢，你抓了它是犯法的。
Chen's beetle hunting days are clearly over, but his instincts are still sharp.
有没有
Hello.
白色的蜗牛？哦，这个呢，我们称它为兰屿光泽蜗牛哈。 就是因为它很白，所以呢，我们给它一个雅号，叫做“天使的眼泪”，代表呢很纯洁哦。它的名字兰屿话叫做“法诺”，法诺是什么意思呢？洗手的意思。洗完手之后，是不是手会很干净？它呢就好像洗完手那么干净一样。
This snail is one of the most beautiful snails I've ever seen. Now the Tao refer to it as pure life, and the Chinese call it angel's tears. Now the elders here used to eat it as a food source, and so now they're quite rare. But because of its beauty and because of its rarity, this is one of the treasures I'm looking for. Taro is the staple of the Tao. The brackish sea spray from the frequent typhoons means only root crops can be cultivated. Nice. Wet taro grows slowly. It takes 3 to 4 years to reach maturity at a height of 15 inches. And when harvested, the stems are cut off and replanted, so it'll grow a new tuber.
哇，厉害你！啊，你就把它的苗拿掉，自己拿掉，嘿嘿，对，往那顺这样子拔，哎，对，嘿，用力，嘿，对，用力，嘿，对，嘿，好。
These abandoned buildings in the midst of the taro field hold painful memories for the Tao. Built in the late 50s, it housed prisoners from Taiwan tasked to build roads. They often accosted and assaulted Tao women. Since then, the Tao have been weary of outsiders. In the past decades, more tourists have been drawn to Lanyu shores. The coral and marine life which the Tao have been protecting, no longer a well-kept secret, is now protected by law. But no law protects Tao traditions. I learned that women and boats spell bad luck, but visitors who come for a slice of the Tao culture unwittingly break their taboos. The younger generation Tao are trying to strike a balance between tourism and the preservation of their time-honored culture. 28-year-old Ararun has converted a workshop in the traditional family home into a hostel. He's returned home from the mainland to reconnect with his roots and uphold the traditions and honor of his people.
游客来说，为什么我怎么看不到丁字裤？对我说没有，因为这是就是特定的节日才可以看得到，不是说你想看就看得到。难听一点，我们不是动物啊，我们也是人啊。
And he hopes in time to impart awareness and respect for the Tao way to visitors to his humble lodgings. Taiwan mainlanders who have settled on Lanyu build concrete houses. The Tao have followed the settlers, eschewing their traditional homes, retaining only the Tao trademark colors of red, black, and white. The younger generation are quick to take up subsidies to build concrete homes, which are not as weatherproof and need constant repair. Now, if you have days to spare, you can cover the whole island by foot, but I have treasures to find, and the best way to see the villages is by scooter. So, let's go. Woo! On the island, when traffic encounters goats have right-of-way. I am heading for Ifaino village, the largest settlement of traditional houses on the island. In contrast with modern homes, the traditional Tao houses are partially built underground. From a distance, only the roofs are visible. Cool in the summer and warm in the winter, the ingenious design stands up against the rigors of fierce typhoons from the Pacific Ocean that strike frequently between May and September. Surely, in one of these 150-year-old homes must be my last treasure. But to gain entry, there are formalities to observe. A discreet cough makes our presence known. Once invited in, 84-year-old Siapan Kotan shows us his helmets made from rattan.
This is from the forefathers, and it's still sturdy, practically. I mean, I can't even bend it at all. So the craftsmanship to make this is going to make it last for several years to come. I mean, this has already been passed down from generations, so This one is the more ceremonial, the more important one, the one that he will not wear out for just any old thing. This one is more of a everyday functional type helmet. And it also is quite sturdy.
Siapen Kotan had more to share. My treasure, perhaps?
Wow, this is beautiful. This is a ceremonial dagger. Now in the past it was used for protection and for going out to be seen with. But it's actually very beautiful, and the elder that we're speaking to made this. Now the designs here that you see on the sheath actually don't have any particular importance except personal nature. And on the back here, you'll see some of the symbols that we saw earlier in the boat as well. There's also an accessory knife. This knife is pure function. This is for self-protection. So we're just going to keep that tucked away. I think it's quite sharp.
The dagger and sheath, both ceremonial and functional, which embodies so much of the Tao culture, is my final treasure.
Wow, it's really heavy.
There are only about 3,000 Tao left on the island, but embedded in their tribal DNA is the wisdom of nature. For centuries, the Tao have lived in splendid isolation. From the sea and on land, they have taken nothing more than what they need to survive. They have been the self-appointed guardians of Lanyu. As for the Tao, they'll need to draw upon their wisdom to navigate the countervailing currents of the push of the modern and the pull of the ancient. As for me, I've got an entire island to explore. Cheers.